Hello, Anytime here. Today, I will show you the recap of the first 12 episodes of the legendary Blue Exorcist series. Spoiler alert. Watch out and take care. Rin is a troublesome boy that likes getting into petty fights compared to his twin brother, Yukio. Rin gets back to his guardian after a fight, and his guardian, Shiro, which he calls father, tells him to get a job and stop being a nuisance. He tells his father he can't get a job. Meanwhile, his twin brother, Yukio, who hopes to be a doctor in the future, tells Shiro he's about to move out of the house. Yukio helps Rin in taking care of his injury as he stands concerned about Rin's safety. Shiro helps Rin in getting a part-time job. He resumes immediately, and he does well at work. Towards the end of the day, he receives a call from Shiro that he should get back home early for Yukio's send-off ceremony. As he leaves the phone booth, he sees Yui, a little girl crying for her scarf. He takes the scarf back for her, and a creature, Hobgoblin, drags the scarf from him. He runs after the beast, thereby creating havoc at his workshop. He's fired that day, and he refuses to go home. Yukio drags him home, where he meets Yui's father. He tells her father she's being bullied, and Yui confirms that some fairies are bullying her. Shiro grounds Rin at home as his punishment. The next day, some boys force Rin to fight, and while fighting, he awakens his strength. The boy has been possessed by a demon who tells Rin that Satan is looking for him. Shiro arrives to save Rin. After defending the boy, Shiro confesses to Rin that he's a demon. He was born by a human lady, and now that he has awakened his powers, the demons will come for him. The demon attacks the temple looking for Rin. Shiro gives Rin a sacred sword, and he tells Rin that the sword contains all of his powers and apologizes for not telling Rin the real story as regards to his birth. He asks Rin to hide while they all fight Satan. Satan opens the door to his world and calls for Rin. Shiro fights them to no avail, despite his injury. He tells Rin if he's the priority, and as long as Rin is safe, they will be okay. Angrily, Rin decides to leave the temple. He says he will save Shiro from stress, and Shiro isn't his birth father anyways. This statement angers Shiro, letting his guard down, and the demon possesses him. Eventually, Rin uses his sword to close Satan's world gate, but Shiro dies. Rin is determined to get revenge on Shiro's death. During Shiro's funeral, he meets Mephisto and asks to become an exorcist, the people who fight demons. He resumes to the True Cross Academy, a school of exorcists. During his first class, he finds out Yukio is his teacher. He doesn't allow the class to end before he starts screaming at Yukio. Yukio explains that he has seen demons while he was young, and Rin is the one that gave him the sign. Hobgoblins attack them while Yukio all blames Rin for their father's death. He calls Rin a demon and a threat, and says if Rin wants to become an exorcist to get revenge for their father's death, then he should die. After a short fight between the brothers, they conclude that they both want to fulfill Shiro's words about protecting each other. Yukio takes Rin around the school and shows him books to read. One day, while Rin is walking around, he finds the school store. Just as he gets to the front of the store, the storekeeper's daughter, Shiemi, calls him a demon. He gets angry, and the girl attempts to run, but he finds out her leg is weak. Meanwhile, Shiemi's mother explains to Yukio that Shiemi has been possessed. Yukio comes out to check on the girl, and he sees Rin with her. He checks her legs and sees she has a spirit wound, and the demon is probably in the garden. Shiemi's mother explains that Shiemi was very close with her grandmother and that her grandmother owned the garden. They find out Shiemi promised the demon to take care of the garden, and that's why she has the wound. Rin breaks some flowers in the garden, prompting the demon to come out. Together, they defeat the demon. Shiemi apologizes to her mother too. Rin isn't serious at school. He sleeps in class, and he doesn't know anything. This gets a colleague, Ryuji, angry. Ryuji pushes him into anger during the course, and after the class, he asks Yukio about Ryuji. Yukio tells him Ryuji is a prospective student. He's on a scholarship, and he is intelligent. As Yukio leaves, Ryuji and his friends come to attack Rin. Angrily, Rin and Ryuji get into a fight until the teachers separate them. Ryuji's friends tell Rin that Ryuji is like that because he wants to defeat Satan, and it was Satan who destroyed his family's temple. Realizing that they have an identical goal, Rin calms down. They attend their next class, where the teacher shows them the Reaper demons. Ryuji provokes the demon and screams he will defeat Satan, but Rin saves him. Yukio is the student's choice. Every girl wants to offer him food, but he rejects it because he doesn't want to hurt any girl. The food at the cafeteria is too expensive, So Yukio and Rin go to Mephisto and ask him to reduce the plan. But Mephisto refuses. He gives them 2,000 yuan, which is Yukio's salary. They take it to the market and Rin cooks. After cooking, their food gets missing. They find out it was taken by Yukobak, a cooking demon, because he finds it forbidden for people to cook behind him. Rin finds Yukobak and goes on a cooking competition with him, and it ends in a draw, so they become friends, and Yukobak starts cooking for them. One day, Shiemi brings food for Yukio, and he accepts it, and the other girls get angry and bring their food. He puts the food away, but Yukobak gets furious at him for wasting food, so he forces it in and falls sick. It's almost time for the students' Esquire examination, so the teacher suggests they attend a boot camp to prepare since the camp isn't compulsory. He asks them to fill out a form, but Rin doesn't know what a maester is. Later, the teacher trains them to invoke a familiar and control it. He tells them if the body is weak, the familiar won't follow. Meanwhile, Shiemi wants to be friends with Kamiki. She asks Kamiki, but Kamiki takes advantage of her and starts asking her to carry bags. During the camp, Kamiki and her friend, Paku, enter the changing room, leaving Shiemi outside. Rin tells Shiemi to stop being friends with Kamiki, while Paku advises Kamiki that her acts are wrong. A ghoul attacks them in the dressing room. Kamiki's familiar refuses her command, while Shiemi uses her familiar to save Paku, and Yukio kills the ghoul. The next day in class, the students fight, so Yukio punishes them and leaves the class. As he goes, the light switches off, and ghouls attack them. Shiemi uses her familiar to create a bond, but they are still alive. So Rin decides that since they are after him, he will lure them out. He lures it to a lonely place where he can use his sword. He finds out the ghouls are sent by Newhouse, who wants him to use his power. Another ghoul remains in the class, and the unity between Ryuki, Kamiki, and Shiemi makes them defeat him. Eventually, the light returns, and Kamiki appreciates Shiemi for saving her life. It turns out that the ghoul fight was their test. Yukio angrily goes to meet Newhouse and gets angry at him for risking the test and making Rin use his powers. He leaves and talks to Shiemi. During the conversation, he remembers one of Newhouse's words that shows that he wants to kill Rin. He quickly goes to take Rin away from the room and goes to fight Newhouse. When Rin wakes up, he joins the fight. Newhouse tells them he was part of Satan's victims at that temple, and he wants to get revenge on Satan's son. Rin tells him he can get revenge on him, but he should never drag anyone into it again. Before leaving, Newhouse tells him other people want his life too. The students pass their tests, and they all celebrate. While Rin and Yukio play in their room, they are called that a demon is disturbing the city. They both get there, and they find out the demon is a cat, and it's Shiro's cat. Yukio wants to kill it, but Rin convinces him otherwise. He could hear the demon saying the cat was just sad. He goes to meet the cat and pats him. He tells him they can be friends, and the cat returns to normal. Yukio comes to meet them later with a package he calls poison, but the cat tells him it's a gift from Shiro. When they open it, it's a wine. They give the cat the wine. Rin, Renzo, and Kamiki are sent to the coast for a mission. Although Renzo says it's not a mission, it's just a vacation. While at the seaside, Rin seals fish, and Kamiki spends her time in the water. She's about to fall, but the little boy, Yohei, saves her. Kamiki asks Yohei what he's doing in the water, and she calls him a child. Rin and Renzo also arrive. They check the little boy, who claims he's courageous in his heart. They notice the sea is dark, and an older man tells them whenever the sea is dark like that, it's because a demon wants to come out and destroy the whole city. Yohei also says a demon killed his father, and he will take revenge against the demon. That night, a kraken comes out of the water. The students call all their spells to defeat this kraken, but they are unsuccessful. They also notice that Yohei is missing. Yohei takes a boat to fight the kraken. Immediately, Rin sees him. He jumps into the water to call him back. While they struggle in the water, they hear a voice calling Yohei, and Yohei recognizes this as his father's voice. His father tells him the kraken is a good demon, and he got lost while chasing the kraken, but it was the one that directed him back home. A baby ghost attacks a park, and the esquires are sent there. At the park, Rin meets his half-brother, the son of Satan, Amaimon, who challenges him to a fight and unsheaths his sword, while Shiemi goes to meet the ghost. In the long run, a classmate of Rin saves him from Amaimon. Well, it turns out that the baby ghost is only looking for a place to play, as he was sick all through his life. The ghost thanks Shiemi for playing with him. When Yukio arrives, the esquire who saved Rin reveals that she's a first-grade exorcist, Shura Kirigakure. What will happen to our demon exorcist? Will he eventually defeat the devil? Watch out for our next part. Thanks for watching. Kindly subscribe to our channel to get notified when we post the next recap.